Hey guys, and welcome back to the FFP. It's me, Christian, here, back with another injury update video. This time it's for week 7, and as always, we've got a lot of guys to discuss. I actually went through and counted this week. There is more injuries than any other week this season. I don't know how long this number is going to continue to climb before they just run out of players and have to cancel the season, but we're going to get into it. As always, there will be timestamps down in the description below to kind of get you to the positions that you want to hear about. And I'll let you guys know that if you're looking for the fantasy outlook or fantasy implications of these injuries, you should leave a comment down below. I don't want to bog this video down or make it take too long or really bury the information, so we're just going to do the injury stuff. If you have questions as to how that really applies to your fantasy league and whatever, that's what the comment section below is for. Without any further ado, let's just get into it. Let's save us some time. And as always, we'll start off with the quarterbacks. All right, so with the quarterbacks, we'll start off with Cam Newton, who's expected to return to practice next week after the Panthers' Week 7 bye week. It'll be interesting now they've got a bit of a quarterback controversy. I was talking to Rob the other day, and it's at least my personal opinion that Kyle Allen should remain the starter. But that depends on what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you guys, and tell me why you think I'm wrong. Tell me why you think I'm right. But moving on, Mitchell Trubisky, he was listed as questionable for Week 7 despite practicing throughout the week. There's also, of course, a lot of rumors going on that the Bears would like to trade for quarterbacks, and they're not happy with Trubisky's play. Personally, watching the Bears situation, I think they should get a new quarterback. However, in the middle of the season, with what they'd have to give up, I'm not sure that's exactly what's going to go down. But anyways, he is questionable. We'll see what's going on. Maybe they keep him on another week simply because they're unhappy with his performance, but who knows? He's not a fantasy guy that I think you'd start either way, but I'm not going to dig too much into that. Baker Mayfield, he is questionable with a hip injury and did not practice Wednesday, but it sounds like he practiced Friday. Sounds like he is pretty good as of right now. Nick Foles, he's a guy who should be coming at least somewhat soon. Coach Doug Marrone came out and said that he should be practicing next week. Of course, that's good news, but another situation where I definitely think they got to stick with Gardner Minshew as their quarterback. He looks like he could very well be the future of the franchise. I think the injury update that everyone's been waiting for now is Pat Mahomes, so let's get into it. With his dislocated kneecap, now he's already played his Week 7 game, so just to let you guys know that he played in the Thursday night game versus the Broncos, and currently his first medical examination made it sound like it was probably going to be about 3 to 4 weeks. But from what we know, it doesn't sound like it's major injury. 3 to 4 weeks isn't too long, and the Chiefs have came out and said that they're looking to get a second opinion before they move forward with their official timeline. Of course, they're trying to maybe turn it into 2 or 3 weeks or as short as possible. Of course, without Pat Mahomes, that team is a completely different team, and their DNA entirely changes. Now, one of their backup quarterbacks, Chad Henne, is still weeks away from returning after his fractured ankle, and so Matt Moore will play the starting quarterback role for the Kansas City Chiefs in the time being. We will also update you further on Pat Mahomes as we learn more, knowing that this is probably the biggest injury from around the NFL right now. Drew Brees. So here's what's going on. Looks like he's still maybe probably 2 weeks away, somewhere around that range from returning. But he was on a radio podcast or a radio show recently where he came on and said that once he does return, his doctor said that he needs to wear a brace around his right thumb. That is his throwing thumb. So that is an interesting situation. Figured I'd update you guys on that. Again, this has been pretty brief, but that is all the quarterback injury updates that you guys need to know about. And we'll move on now to the running backs. It seems to be a lot more running backs and wide receivers we're going to have to get over in this video, so we'll continue on. All right, so we'll get started with the running backs and David Johnson. He's currently listed as questionable for Week 7 versus the Giants. Now, that is because of his ankle and his back, so he is very banged up at the time. But here's what we know. Coach Cliff Kingsbury came out and said that if they had played Thursday night, when he was asked this question, that he wouldn't have been playing. But he's got a few more days to get in there, and he has been limited at practice, again marked as questionable, but hey, he has been practicing. Seems like it's going to be quite a game time decision, so not going to put any stock in him playing or not playing at this point. Running back Devin Singletary, he was finally left off the Bills injury report this week. It looks like he is healthy and left that injury in the dust that he was really struggling with. So that's good news. And another guy who has also been removed from the injury report is Todd Gurley. Yeah, there's still going to be some apprehension about him, but it seems very without a doubt, matter of fact, that he will be playing this week, so that is good. He was taken off the injury report Wednesday, in fact, so he has seemingly been healthy for quite a while. Malcolm Brown, he was also a bit banged up. He is currently listed as doubtful for Sunday's game against the Falcons. That leaves Darrell Henderson seemingly the sole back in that offense. Of course, behind Todd Gurley, but anyways, you wouldn't start him with Todd Gurley playing. So we'll move on now to Alvin Kamara. Now, he was ruled out for Week 7 after missing Friday's practice. The Saints have been very hush-hush about this whole situation, so I guess at least it's good to know now, so you've got a day or two to figure out what your running back situation is going to look like without Kamara. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are on a bye week, so Jalen Samuels and James Conner, who are both banged up, doesn't necessarily matter now. We will update you next week and further into the future, but I guess they got kind of lucky with that. Mike Tomlin came on and said that Samuels will be out at least a month. James Conner seemed a bit banged up, but I think by next week he'll be fine. Saquon Barkley, this is an interesting situation. When he first had his high ankle sprain, it sounded like he was going to be out 4 to 8 weeks. And now after just 3 weeks, he's been removed from the injury report. He is fully at practice and ready to play this week. So good for you, Barkley owners. Of course, this has a major impact on Wayne Gallman's fantasy impact or fantasy value. Is really, I don't think you can play him at this point. The final running back I got to talk about is Chris Thompson. Toe, he was ruled out this week. That's going to give a lot of extra touches to Adrian Peterson, who had a good week last week. That's our wrap up for the fantasy running back injury updates that you guys need to know about. Move on now to the wide receivers. All right, so we'll start with Christian Kirk. Ankle, he is questionable and going to be a game time decision. As I mentioned recently, Larry Fitzgerald actually gets a fantasy boost if Christian Kirk plays. Both of Larry Fitzgerald's 100-yard games and both of his touchdowns came with Kirk in there, but again, this will be a game time decision. Marquez Brown, he did not practice this week and he is questionable, but I would call it more like doubtful. If he didn't practice this week at all, I have a hard time seeing that he's going to play. There are many players who played all week and or practiced all week and are still marked as questionable, so the fact that he hasn't been practicing is a very bad sign. AJ Green ruled out for another week. So, of course, with John Ross on the IR, this gives Auden Tate and Tyler Boyd a chance to shine. Jarvis Landry, looks like he suffered an ankle injury during last week's game versus the Seahawks. He is currently marked as questionable, but doesn't seem to be a big deal. For my estimations, looked like he's going to be fine. Looks like he's going to play. Amari Cooper and Randall Cobb. Amari Cooper's got his quad injury and Randall Cobb with his back. They're both marked as questionable, but they are trending towards playing, and that is expected by many experts that both guys will be playing in this game. So I'm not going to speak any more to that. Devontae Adams' toe is out for yet another week, at least as far as what we know right now, which is really interesting because that whole wide receiving corps seems to be pretty banged up. Geronimo Allison, he has a chest injury and a concussion. He's listed as doubtful, and as always, I say doubtful means probably not going to be playing. And Marquez Valdes-Scantling with his knee and his ankle marked as questionable. With all these injuries between those three guys, I mean, there's a very well a chance that Marquez Valdes-Scantling is the only wide receiver of those three to play. You're going to have to look towards Alan Lazard as a big game day start. Very risky, but a solid sleeper. He had a good game last game and could very well do it again. Wide receiver Paris Campbell, abdomen, he is out this week. Of course, that gives a boost to other wide receivers that are like Zach Pascal and T.Y. Hilton. D.D. Westbrook, shoulder, he is questionable. Looks like a game time decision. Sammy Watkins will be inactive for another week. And of course, with Tyreek Hill back and healthy, it's good for Tyreek Hill, but Pat Mahomes is out, so that's definitely an interesting situation to be navigating at this point. Now, wide receiver Josh Gordon, he didn't practice this week and is marked as questionable. I've said it before. Marked as questionable, okay, yeah, it seems like a 50-50, but if they haven't been practicing, that is, of course, a very bad sign. Now, Julian Edelman and Philip Dorsett, they are both currently on the injury report, but with very minor injuries, and they have been fully at practice throughout the week, so you have to expect both those guys are going to play. I'll move on now to Sterling Shepard. Concussion, he is not expected to play this week, while Barkley and Evan Ingram seem to be like they're going to be back. Another wide receiver out this week is Tyrell Williams with his foot. He has a plantar fascia injury, held him out of practice all week and out of this game this week for sure. Deshaun Jackson and Deebo Samuels will both be out. Jackson, surprisingly, that injury seems to be lagging quite a bit. And Deebo Samuels is held out this week with a groin injury. Seems like there are a lot of wide receivers out this week, and of course, managing that with bye weeks is going to make things very difficult to figure out who to start. So make sure to leave a comment down below and check out our start sit video for sure. as this video is not necessarily meant to replace that video, but be in addition to and give a quick update on everything you guys need to know. Again, my apologies talking very fast on this, but hey, at least we're getting all the information out there that you need to. Let's move on now to the tight ends. Okay, so there are actually a lot of tight end injuries this week, but here's what we know. Vernon Davis with a concussion. He is still in concussion protocol and will be out this week. Delaney Walker is questionable with an ankle injury. And for those of you who don't remember, Will Disley, he is out with a torn ACL and Achilles injury. So definitely be looking for another tight end if that was who you were going to roll with. Chris Herndon, he is questionable with a hamstring injury. He does have some fantasy value when he comes back and he's healthy alongside Sam Darnold. But maybe tend to avoid him this week. Evan Ingram finally removed from the injury report. He is healthy and he is playing along with Saquon Barkley. This could be a good week for him. Jared Cook, ankle injury, he is out this week, and Ryan Izzo with a concussion is questionable. Finally, the replacement for James O'Shaughnessy there in Jacksonville is Jeff Swaim. He is out this week as well, so they'll be down to their number 3 tight end. Seems like, again, that doesn't seem so many tight end injuries compared to what we were dealing with the wide receivers, but if you're already scrambling and already dealing with bye weeks, that's really going to dampen the situation. So guys, let me know if you need any help as to figuring out last minute pickups for your tight ends or who you're going to start. But that is all I've got for this video. This was a very fast video, very fast, next to no fantasy outlook information, and my apologies for that because Rob couldn't be here. Rob had a lot of work meetings and catching up. Things were really crazy there, as many of you guys know, and had a lot of family emergencies and stuff. That finally calmed down, but then it just hit him the other day. He was like, wait, I have to catch up on all my work, got to go to a lot of meetings, and so I did all the work for this video, and I wanted to do things really thoroughly, and I didn't want to miss any players or any information, so I held off of doing the fantasy outlook. If that's something that you guys needed more on, go to our start sit video. I'll be there answering questions, and I'll be answering questions down below on this video. As always, guys, thank you so much for your support. God bless, and have a great day.